He is a compulsive liar. Remember at the start of this. What was he saying? Oh,
He's done
it's a
everything he set out to
miracle.
do. Let's be honest.
It's a miracle, guys. It's a miracle. Everyone, it'll die down. The curve will die down. With his little hand motion, the curve will die down.
But
And
who
it'll
didn't?
be like a miracle.
But let's be honest. Who didn't say that? Like, who's gonna say?
No,
Oh
no one
yeah,
said
guys,
that.
we're
No
fucking.
one said that. Every other country was like, oh shit, we're on our ass. This shit's going.
Alright guys, so essentially what's going to happen is this. We're going to be dropping down a link to the description below, and hopefully if you guys can, donate whatever you are able to this one fund. We are hoping to actually raise money for those who are on the front lines combating this COVID-19 pandemic, namely our doctors and nurses. If we lose our doctors and nurses, we have lost the war against COVID-19. So with all due respect, with all due abilities, please help out, donate as much as you can. $1, $100, it all adds up.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Culture Overload, the realest podcast in the game, where it's just some real people having some real conversations. If you are new to the podcast, we do post a new episode every Tuesday at 8, and today we're doing an episode, or this is part 2 of our special segment where it's called Corona Chronicles, where we talk everything coronavirus. If you are new and you like what you are hearing, make sure to share it around and spread this podcast around. I know a lot of people need some entertainment during this quarantine time. But and also, if you don't know what this segment is all about, Corona Chronicles, it's basically just updating you everything coronavirus news, how to stay entertained during quarantine, updates and stuff like that. But without further ado, without further ado, let's get into today's episode. We apologize if the quality might have fallen off a little bit, or if there's any difference. We are trying something new. We are trying to do our part social distance, so we are doing this podcast over Discord. So, if there's any cutting out or anything, we apologize ahead of time. But without further ado, let's get into today's episode. And I kind of want to start it off with Abdullah. Before we were supposed to record today, he's like, yo, I'm not risking it. I had a customer. He was supposed to be in quarantine. And I didn't ask any questions because I want to ask him. I want to talk about it on the podcast. What the fuck do you mean?
I don't know, bro. Like, a lot of customers are coming and saying that they should be in self-isolation. I don't know if the doctor recommended that, or I didn't really want to ask too many questions because I wanted to get the fuck away.
What do you mean?
I don't want to be.
Like, they just came up to you and they're like, I should be in self-isolation right now?
No. Like, I was like helping him, and then when the pharmacist was counseling, she was like, yeah, I probably should be in self-isolation right now. I'm like, okay.
Like, about the customer?
Sure.
Like the pharmacy person was telling you about the customer that they should be in self-quarantine right now?
No, like the customer told our thing that they should probably be in self-isolation right now.
Then why the fuck are you out in public?
You tell me, boss. These people are smart nowadays,
Oh my god. Like, okay, I get these people. Like, right now we were going outside and everything, and there's people out, right? And it's not as dead as it should be.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. But you have the if you know you have it, why are you out? How fucking dumb are you? I don't know. Like, did your, like, I don't know. I would tell my employees, like, did your staff do anything about that?
Us?
Yeah, like, I would disinfect the whole fucking store.
No, we sanitized everything. So one thing actually, that was kind of shocking to me was that as of now, we still don't have a policy on what to do if someone actually does have coronavirus.
Like a customer, or what?
Yeah, like a customer. Like, there's no policy set in place.
Oh, so like deliver the medicine.
Yeah, the other day was something similar happened, right? Where a customer was like, "Oh, I think I have it or something," and one of the employees there was like, "Okay, so I'm gonna call the cops now," but our pharmacist was basically like, well, "You can't really do that. It's breaking confidentiality between the Costco, it's
like the
uh,
pharmacy,
the pharmacy itself,
yeah,
and then the government
the
law, like
uh,
the government
yeah,
as a
because
pharmacy.
like I'm pretty sure if you're in the doctor or like in the physical like that type of practice, like the customers, you can't really disclose customer information. But bro, like this is what I'm saying. This is why, like honestly, at this point, this is why I want to I'm dying to I don't know how Ibrahim. I actually want to ask you. You're a political student. How the fuck can I talk to the government and somehow put myself in the planning team because they're doing a shit job. Like, honestly, the quicker the government does the right thing about this and slows the spread, the quicker we can get back to normal life. And right now we're relying on people to do the right thing, and people are dumb,
Well,
man. They're,
let me tell you, you can't. You literally can't. There's no way in, and there's no way out. Like literally, you just can't. There's nothing you can do.
I think I'm gonna have to email an MP or some shit, but bro.
Oh no, you can email an MP. They'll be like, "Yes, we understand. Very frustrating times. But then nothing gets done."
Bro, okay, okay, I understand though. Like right now, there's a deficiency in test kits and masks, supplies and stuff. But what they should be doing is they're not doing anything to stop people right now. There's Sweden right now. They're living life without lockdown, and their infection rate's the same as us here. It's because they're doing the right thing. When they first heard about this virus, they're screening everybody that's coming in the airport. They're asking them if they've had coughs or anything, and if they say they have any symptoms, next thing they do is they test their temperature, and after that they get them a taxi and they send them home alone. They facilitate everything. Over here, what they do, they just sent out an Amber Alert. If you're a traveler, go home. You really trust they're gonna do that? Really?
Not even that. It's just when it was first happening, there was this one plane, somebody got off and they had the symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
and then the only statement that was made after that is just health officials urge those who are on this flight to self-quarantine for 14 days. It's wow, who's gonna do that?
Yeah,
it's saying, the Waterloo Regional Police are urging everyone who goes in at 120 kilometers on the 401 to turn themselves in. No one's gonna turn themselves in.
Yeah.
Literally.
They're gonna think they're invincible. They're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't have symptoms. I'm not sick." And the thing is, you can be asymptomatic,
Exactly.
and some people are too dumb to know that, right? But
you don't have to be sick. You can just be a carrier.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing about this virus. People don't realize that. But bro, think about it. If this is how we control it, if they had checkpoints at every grocery store, in front of the door, they're taking temperatures or something. Our neighborhood, right? Our neighborhood only has two ways out, right? Abdullah, you know this.
Mm-hmm.
Our neighborhood only has two roads out. Imagine if they blocked one off, and then they had a checkpoint at the other one where they're testing everyone that's leaving the community, right? And they do that to every suburban community around, Kitchener or something. Wouldn't that slow shit down? Because you're getting people out of circulation as soon as they have symptoms. Right now, people are you can go 2 days without even showing symptoms, and you're spreading that shit around, and it's so easily spread. It's fucked.
Yeah, I guess just at the right now, bro, no one's really taking anything seriously. I don't know how credible the source is, but apparently tomorrow there's going to be a big update, and I think Toronto's going to go on full lockdown. So what's happening in Italy?
That's what I was going to tell you guys.
Ooh,
that's
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson hospitalized with coronavirus.
Yes.
He had it, but now he's hospitalized. They're saying it's only a precautionary measure, but the fact that a leader's hospitalized is, I don't know.
Let's hope Trump gets it next, man. That guy deserves it, bro. Did you hear what he said about the masks?
Yeah, told them not to ship it to Canada. Just wow.
Fucking cunt bag, man. And this is what I've been saying since I was in high school. I was like, bro, we rely too much on U.S. The government needs to start becoming more self-reliant. And this is what I've been saying right now. We're going through it right there.
Except Doug Ford had a very strong point. We can do and build everything in Ontario. And I mean, I'm not a fan of the Conservatives. I'm not a fan of Doug Ford, but that right there.
We can do everything here. And the thing is,
low-key, whatever's happening right now doesn't make up for what he's done in the past, but Doug Ford is kind of stepping up right now.
Well,
true. He's doing his job as a representative of
But it's also,
you're really well.
but it's
Like
all,
yeah, like it doesn't definitely.
but it's also like you're comparing someone at the worst time ever. Like
Yeah,
anyone
I'd
can look
rather
good.
have him than Trump. Let me tell you that.
Oh,
much.
definitely, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely.
obviously, there's other people that could have done better, but I mean,
But-
for what he is right now, for what he's done, he's doing a
But
very
it's
good job.
but it's super hypocritical. I was just thinking this the other day. I was like, bro, this guy when first came in office, his plan was to privatize healthcare, right? Imagine if he had done that, and now COVID-19 is here, people are not covered. Imagine that. Imagine how many people would be fucked over because of him. So it's kind of hypocritical. Like, look at him. You kind of look at him now. It's like, okay, dude, didn't you want to privatize healthcare? Like, when things were all beautiful and sunshine, like a couple of months or like a couple of years ago.
Gonna be thinking, you know what he's gonna be thinking right now? Imagine how much money I would have made if I didn't pass that law. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Like let's be honest. Like this is not gonna change his mind. If anything, it's gonna expedite it. You know what I mean?
Let's not make any assumptions. Let's have good thoughts on regarding our leaders. Like even Trump 2020.
No, that guy's a fucking.
No, honestly, let's be honest.
He's
between
a cunt.
him and Biden, okay? Like him and Bernie, obviously Bernie for me. Him and Biden, just like Biden's the same thing. Might as well just have another Trump.
To me, man, anything over Trump. That guy, like, at least Biden has somewhat of a brain. Trump is no brain. There is no brain. There's no piece of intelligence in his little fucking orange head of his. Like,
okay, good. He's a reflection of the people.
And it's so depressing, man. Like, being a Donald Trump supporter speaks so much of your character. It's not about what you think is right, okay? America first, that's not what Donald Trump is about. If you're a Donald Trump supporter at this point, you like his character, and there's something wrong with you at that point, because his character is a fucking child in a man body.
But I have to say, I rate his character hands down. Like, he is amazing. Up front,
oh my God.
You know,
Up
says
fr-
what
up
he
front-
means.
says what he means?
Correct?
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's a liar.
But
He is a compulsive liar. Remember at the start of this. What was he saying? Oh, it's a miracle.
Let's be honest.
It's a miracle, guys. It's a miracle. Everyone, it'll die down. The curve will die down. With his little hand motion, the curve will die down. And it'll be like a miracle.
But let's be honest, who didn't say that? Like, who's gonna say?
No, no one
yeah,
said
guys,
that. No one said that. Every other country was like, "Oh shit, we're on our ass. This shit's."
No, we didn't.
Yes, we
Canada
did.
didn't.
Everyone
Not
knew.
until recently,
No,
bro.
no one denied the fact that it spreads. About the fact that it spreads. As soon as it hit here, how like we didn't even have 1,000 cases before we went on lockdown. Donald Trump.
God, we're not even in a lockdown yet.
yeah,
Well,
we're not locked down
not
yet.
not
Italy's
complete
a
lockdown.
Italy,
Not
you
complete
step outside of your
lockdown.
house,
But I mean, like
It
the
is a
essential
lockdown,
workers,
India's
like
lockdown.
the essential, the like everything but essential work is closed,
Come on.
right? And that was at
We
an
can't
early
be-
stage.
Let's be honest, we're taking this as bad as US.
No,
We're
not
just
not
lucky
as
that
bad,
we're not
not
as
as bad,
populated.
not as
No,
bad,
we're just lucky
not
we're
as
as
bad,
populated.
not as bad,
Bro,
man.
come on,
Man,
bro,
if you listen to Donald Trump's shit in the past week or in the past 2 weeks, you would be like, oh my fucking god, I wish I was in the state. I hope, or I'm lucky not to be in the States. Donald Trump isn't the reason cities are going on lockdown. It's the states themselves that are deciding that. So there are states that are still wide open because Donald Trump, or actually now they're locking down because Donald Trump believes in it. But back then, how late were they to lock down? How much their infection rate? Who's leading? Who's leading now? The U.S. They have the most infected population now. Out of all.
You never understood. Listen. You never understood what the man was saying. America #1. This was all part of the plan.
Come on.
Oh
now,
yeah,
don't be silly.
number one in anything, right? Even the coronavirus
Anything and
infection.
everything, bro. Like,
Oh.
it's all part of it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Trump said that he's gonna make it great again, and there he is. He's doing great things.
Yeah, doing great things. The fucking
2020.
man, that guy's
Let's
such a
go.
scumbag, man. Like, oh, stop sending masks to Canada. Go fucking suck a dick, man.
To be honest, I agree with that move as well, because now we're gonna start to initiate our own plants, our own companies.
That's I like that. Just because he showed Canada that we can't rely on the States. That's the only thing.
Exactly.
But he's a scumbag. for the thing behind, like the main thing, the main reason is he's a scumbag for calling that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this is a time where countries like another thing. What pisses me off is that Canada is still buying masks from China, and I know there's no way to work around that. But honestly, personally, I feel that China should be fucking paying off for every country's healthcare right now, because it was their fault. It was their fault. And people, please do not take this wrong. I'm not blaming Chinese people like the people you see in the street. I'm blaming the government, because their totalitarian government dictatorship was so late to blow the whistle on this. There's a couple things that I'm thinking about this. You know how we were talking about this is a conspiracy theory, maybe to depopulate? Maybe it was from China to cripple the world economy, and they're the first ones to recover from this, right? Right now, they're the ones that are starting to get back to normal. Maybe they're doing that.
There was this one report where it suggested that there were people dying in the U.S. of maybe COVID-19 prior to it even happening in Wuhan.
Oh yeah, that was
they're under trial right now, I guess.
Yeah.
They're trying to like determine what's going on, but that could have also been a possibility.
That was another thing that makes it kind of sketchy, because there was apparently a guy in California that there's no way, like there's no traces of him in China. He didn't travel or anything, but he had it. He tested positive for it, and there was no traces of him. There's no way it could have came back from him traveling. And also another thing is some people. Do you know JK News that we watch on? Apparently, they were talking about they had a while ago. They had a fever they've never had before, and it literally felt like they were dying, and they thought that maybe it was coronavirus.
But they visit like a lot. They travel a lot.
Yeah,
so
they travel a lot. But that's a sketchy thing. Like a man in California. Yeah, some people are saying we've had this shit going on way earlier than we've actually known. Like,
yeah, bro.
and there's probably way more people than we know are infected, and that's a definite, because not a lot of people are getting tested. Even though, if you guys noticed, there's actually testings on the rise in Canada. They tested like 200,000 people, and I think they only got like 50,000 confirmed cases.
Damn.
But shit's fucked. Let's go back on the China thing. Like, I honestly feel like China should be punished for it, because, okay, so they knew about it in December. They knew back in December, and they knew that it could be transmitted from human to human really easily, right? The China's CDC declared it, and then the China CDC declared that transmission is low in January 15. They already knew that was false. On January 18th, they allowed a Lunar New Year banquet to go forward in Wuhan. And then tens of thousands of those people, like it's a big event, right? So there's people coming up from all over the world to visit their families and shit. And then tens of thousands of people were allowed to leave those airports normally. Then the quarantine wasn't enacted till January 23rd. So they let that go on. Also, Chinese doctors who identified the virus early in December received a gag order from the China's National Health Department, and that means they have to stop tests, destroy samples, and suppress any news about the virus, right? So, like, China basically, just because they wanted to make themselves look good to the world and not admit that there's a huge virus going on, they hid this for so long and let the spread get to where it is now. So that's why I think now, like after this, the whole world should punish China and just cut trade with them. Unless they step up right now and start helping out these countries that are running out of supplies. That's my personal
first
opinion.
Things first,
I really hope that if all the world governments recognize that there was an issue and it was because of China's government that this became such a big deal, I would hope, because I think there's apparently already a U.S. lawyer who's working on like a $2 trillion case against China for this. But I know that if world leaders all around the world actually realize that China and China's government was behind suppressing this and causing it to where it gets today, I would hope that they would punish China in some way. And I really wish, like, I was in government, because then I would be like, you know what would be perfect right now? Replacing China for the next best, like, labor competitor. Like India or some shit. Because fuck China's government, honestly. We're probably already censored there.
I don't think India is the next best.
They have a lot of people.
They have a lot of people, but
that means cheap labor. So cheap labor is what companies really want, and that's why China is prospering, because companies like going there because it's cheap. But you know, if you're trying to punish China and Chinese businesses, you cut off China from trade, you're gonna need another manufacturing hub. And I would say, like, India is probably the next best option. They're having a lot of unemployment issues, and you know, there's a lot of scam centers and shit going on because there's a lot of unemployment there, and there's a lot of population. So, I think India is probably the next best manufacturing hub to replace China. But besides that, I really hope people realize that, you know, it was a lot of this could have been prevented if the Chinese government had owned up to what was going on early on, and you know, recognized it.
Everyone's at fault here. I don't want to be pointing fingers, but everyone in their own, when it came up to when they were up to the batting cage or whatever you want to call it, they all messed. Like everyone underestimated it. Everyone lacked.
But here's the thing: there's a difference.
Everyone.
There's a difference between underestimating it, and there's a difference between knowing things and suppressing the facts. And that's what China basically did. And think about it. Imagine that doctor that that came out about it. Imagine if that doctor, like, you know, when you think about history, right? I don't know if you guys ever thought about it. It's like, bro, like, imagine Hitler just wasn't born. How different would history be? Imagine if that doctor. No. But imagine if that doctor didn't say anything about this. How different would this be? How, like, you know? Imagine if that doctor, would it be till March till we realize that there's a pandemic going on?
Well, there's like
because
how many million people in China right now? You don't think one doctor would have said, "Hey, listen, there's this shit going on"?
Well, it depends because their government is suppressive, man. You know what they're doing, man. You know Chinese government, don't you?
Yeah, but it's not all up to one man's hand. Just because China messed up doesn't mean that we have to mess up. You know what I mean? Like we also messed up. You know what I mean?
How so?
We can't go blaming
How did we mess
because
up?
we messed up.
I understand what we messed up, but I just want to see how, from your point of view, why you think we messed up.
The second we understood that this thing was going global,
Close the borders.
Anyone coming in through the borders, first of all, should have been checked.
I agree.
I had at least 20 to 30 friends who came in from like all over the world, Cuba,
and they were not
Pakistan,
tested.
England. They all came through, and my
let
question
free.
was like, "Were you tested?" And they said, no, but I don't have the virus. I'm like, no, that's not the question. Were you tested?
And they didn't even get asked questions, though, did they? They didn't even ask it. Yeah.
If we had started that from the beginning, I think Canada would have been in a much different situation.
And all the countries would have been in a better situation if they would have done that earlier.
100%. Knowing that, we can't also we can't be blaming one country entirely.
Yeah,
reason being,
exactly.
when you say, for example, oh, you had the proof and you just decided to hide it, they could easily claim the proof wasn't sufficient because of X, Y, and Z reasons, and we didn't want to create a mass hysteria over nothing that would have actually led to a more serious.
They knew how quickly it was spreading. It wasn't about oh, we didn't know this. It was literally about making themselves not look bad. They didn't want. Bro, Chinese officials it's like they're propaganda. They hid it. The gag orders are a fact. It's not. I'm not making this shit up. I'm not making that up. Okay, so that's
the full story.
No, but that's clearly a piece of evidence that they were trying to suppress something, isn't it? Isn't it? So a gag order. You tell doctors that you can't, just even if you know how bad this is, to not say anything. Isn't that hiding it? And they knew early on that it was easily transmittable, but they said it wasn't. And the doctor The doctor tells us that. Like, he knows that. And they knew this early on. Like I said, the CDC claimed in January, how early is it? 15 days. 15 days. Or not even 15 days until they quarantined. How does that go? They claimed the transmission is low in January 15th. They went on quarantine until January and on January 23rd. How does that make sense? How didn't they know? So, and at that point, it was already spreading all over the world. So clearly, they knew it was really quickly transmittable, and from human to human. So they did suppress it, and we can blame one government for its inaction of telling us, right? But we also can blame every other government for their lack of action early on, because this could have been prevented if everyone acted early on and airports were, everyone that came in was tested. Like, we wouldn't be here if that was the case. But they dropped the ball. They waited too long. Everyone thought we were invincible. Every country was like, "Oh, we're not gonna get it," and here we are now. We're basically in quarantine all around the world, and that's the craziest fucking thing, man. Everywhere in the world, we're on the same level right now. We're all worrying about the same thing. It's the same conversation. You go to India, you go to Russia, you go to Europe, they're all talking about coronavirus. That's just crazy to think about. I don't know. Like, quarantine, how's your quarantine been so far? I don't know.
Ibrahim, you've been quarantined for a while now.
Yeah,
Huh?
this is the first episode back with Ibrahim for a while.
I don't know. Just gave me some time to.
Have you actually not left the house yet, or have you?
Like, have you gotten out of the house at all?
Like, before, I had left the house on like
before lockdown,
small
or what?
minor walks and stuff. And then it was like I went to Timmy's, I think, one time or two times, and then after that, I just like this was earlier on. Like, this was
before everything got locked down. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know, just like from then on, it's just like
ever since the state of emergency has been declared, you've been at home, right?
Essentially, I stepped outside one time.
Who does the grocery shopping then? Like, who gets food
Parents.
and stuff? Really? Why wouldn't you go out then? And
because
then quarantine yourself for 14 days rather than
it's like
risk it.
No matter how
because you're quarantining yourself for them, but yeah.
No, 100%. But like the saying goes, no matter what your condition is, you put your kids first, right?
But
so it's like you could be more at risk or more at prone, and you just like, I don't know, man.
I don't know. I would talk them out of it. I would be like that's what I mean, I've been doing that for a while now, but I've been doing grocery shopping, and usually like I would go grocery shopping, I'll come home, I'll clean off, like first thing I'll do, sanitize my hands, go wash my hands, and then wait a little bit until, apparently they tell you like a recommendation is to wait like maybe an hour or something, or 30 minutes before you start putting your groceries away, just in case. But, apparently it doesn't survive on those surfaces as long. But there was a misconception. People are saying...
I've heard... Yeah?
People are saying it only lasts on surfaces for like a couple hours, and that was a big misinformation at first. It can last up to on hard surfaces like plastic, metal for days. It can last on there for days.
I heard 9 days from somewhere. I can't think of where though.
Yeah, it lasts a while on some surfaces. So that's another thing people like. Also, like, you wash your hands all the time. When do you ever clean your phone, people? If you wash your hands, touch your phone, you basically just did nothing. So I would recommend people, those Lysol wipes, and they don't ruin your screen.
Out at stores, yeah.
Yeah, Lysol wipes. I don't know. Get a tissue with hand sanitizer. Maybe that will work too. But don't take my word on it. For sure, a Lysol wipe would work though. Just wipe down your phone before you wash your hands. Wash your hands, and now both your phone and hands are clean. That's coronavirus prevention tip with Moaz. Woo!
Just use soap and water. Soap and water is better.
Just 20 seconds.
Put your phone in the washing machine too.
People, stop using toilet paper. Just use water.
Yeah, people. That's another thing. We talked about this on the first episode. Why are you hoarding toilet paper? Get a bidet. Get a bidet.
across.
Yeah.
Why are people like flipping out over the toilet paper?
Well, it's on
Yeah,
limit
okay. Food, I understand. Purell, I understand. Any types of other, sanitization products, I understand. Toilet paper, why?
now. Yeah, I know. Me and Abdullah were
Why?
talking about it. We're like, people who got toilet paper are the first ones to die in a survival situation. Because, like, if you're real
Literally.
worried about your bro, you can use a shirt. Like, you can use get a bidet. Get a $70 bidet. There you go. You saved yourself toilet paper for life. Like,
Exactly.
there you go.
Literally.
I don't know. It's weird. Have you guys been to grocery stores yet?
Yeah.
It's honestly
Near the
not as
beginning.
bad. It's not as bad now. Like, at first, everything was like canned food. Everything was sold out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, like, they have limits on stuff like soap. They literally have signs for limits. There's limits on soap, tissues, toilet paper, paper towels. Like soap, hand sanitizer, and stuff like that. And what else? I think
See.
milk. I don't know. I saw there's so many limits, but they're not as sold out as the first day, like the first panic.
Yeah.
But-
yeah, that
Because
person
here's the
was
thing. One, either everyone already has everything. Two, they've realized how stupid it is to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Three, it's like, I don't know, you can only sell so much because if I have like 300 rolls of toilet paper, I don't need to get another 600. Especially when I visit the stores next time and I see toilet paper not being completely sold out.
I also think people did that at first because it was such a new thing. Like, they didn't know what was going to happen. They thought maybe going into a state of emergency, everything's going to shut down. So maybe people at first were like, oh shit, maybe like grocery stores are not going to be around for a bit. So maybe let's get everything now. But I honestly think we're going to go, this is my prediction, this next week. I think Abdullah was talking about it when we first started. In the U.S., they went on lockdown, like complete lockdown in California. But I think Ontario is going to be next. I think this next couple of weeks, or maybe like this next week, I think we're going to go on full lockdown where everything, like people have to stay home. Even essential businesses are going to close. So I think I'm going to go like shopping, like grocery shopping, just hoard everything.
I know. Canadian Tire closed.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah.
Canadian Tire closed
They
down?
might.
Yeah.
Some stores closed if they might have someone like COVID positive in it.
No, but like all Canadian Tires.
Oh, all of them? Yeah, but I honestly think it's going to be mandatory. Like, if this thing is continuing at its rate, I think it's going to come too late a little bit. But I think the next thing is going to be a full lockdown. Everyone's going to have to stay at home. Like, if people, me and Abdullah were going to Hamilton to like pick up car parts. We're socially distancing, we're just picking up parts. But like, there were so many people on the road. People, take this shit seriously. Like, because if the government sees that there's still people out on the road, and there were so many cops, like if they see people are still out on the road, we're gonna go on full lockdown. We're gonna lose like complete freedom. Like, you're gonna walk out of your house and you're gonna get a ticket. I feel like
with
at
that
this
being
rate.
said, again, we do not condone doing that. It was an emergency.
Yeah.
It was a good offer. I had to take it up. I couldn't let that one slide.
Yeah. You can go on walks and stuff, but keep your social
stay
distance. Yeah. Keep your social distance. But I think that's going to be it for Corona Chronicles. It's been a good episode. Yeah, it's 30 minutes.
Say less.
Yeah, we're going to do that, right?
Yeah.
So, thanks for tuning in to Corona Chronicles. It's been an episode. If you liked it, make sure to share it around. And if you are new, we do post every Tuesday at 8. And follow our Instagram, @culture.overload.